good, Dragon Ball Super players? Welcome back to Colossal Warfare TCG, and today we have another deck profile for you guys featuring this new promotional card coming out of the Colossal Warfare Sealed Tournament. You did hear that right, you have to play in a Colossal Warfare Sealed to get these cards, so they might be a little bit difficult to get, but it's understandable considering how good they actually are. Here it is, 4-drop, Encroaching Darkness Demigra, Overrealm 4, permanent, all Demigra cards in your hand with an energy cost 7, gain Xeno Evolve 3 Demigra. When you play this card, you can't play non-black battle cards for the duration of the turn, and your opponent can't attack with battle cards with an original power of 10k or less until the end of the next turn. Really cool card, allows us to use our 7-drop Demigra, which we're going to be showcasing a little bit later, a turn earlier, which is very powerful, allows you to up the tempo that you're able to play this deck with. Also, the fact that it turns off early game aggression against more potent strategies like Storm or just red aggro in general is very strong. Thankfully, Storm got shredded by this ban list, so we won't have to use this card as much. However, he's still very good in his own strategy. But what's a deck without a leader? We're playing a mono-black Demigra deck, so we got to be playing the man. When this card attacks a leader, place 3 cards from the top of your deck in the drop. If all the cards placed in the drop are black, draw 1 card. Really solid. Unfortunately, you do have to swing at a leader, which can be a little bit, restricting, but still very strong. And when your life is at 4 or less, you may choose up to 2 of your energy, switch them to active mode and flip this card over, and then on the backside he becomes the Ghastly Malice Demigra Wormhole. You can activate Overrealm and Dark Overrealm up to a total of 2 times per turn. So what this means is that you're either able to activate Overrealm and 1 Overrealm and 1 Dark Overrealm, 2 Overrealms, or 2 Dark Overrealms. You can't do 4 total, unfortunately. It'd be pretty busted. But either way, this effect is very strong, especially since this card allows you to choose up to 3 cards in your warp and place them back in the drop every single turn. So it's going to be very, very easy to fuel Overrealm in this deck. And also it means you're not going to be milling out in the late game, which is very strong. Also, when this card attacks a lead or attacks, draw a card like every other leader does. Jumping into the deck, we are playing a mono-black deck. Surprise, surprise. Starting off this list, we have 3 copies of Dark Power, Black Masayan. When this card attacks, you may add 1 card from your life to your hand. If you do, this card gains 10k power for the duration of the turn. When your opponent plays a battle card with 1500 power or less using a non-keyword skill, your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hand and places them in drop. Very strong against like Pan matchups and the Shenron leads. It's also additional awakening that can be added back off a power burst if you need it. However, honestly a solid card overall, and it's a really solid black card, so we're playing it in the deck. 4 copies of Poutine in Demigra's Thrall. Blocker, when you play this card, if your leader card is Demigra, place up to 2 cards from the top of your deck in your drop. So this allows you to make bigger Overrealm plays earlier on in the game. Say you want to play an Encroaching Darkness Demigra on turn 1, this allows you to do that essentially. And it's also a blocker which can soak up additional attacks against that Shenron lead, because this deck is going to be trying to push the games to turns 4 to turns 5, because that's when its curve really turns on strongly, and at those numbers, Shenron is going to be the main thing that you're going to be competing against. 4 copies of Power Burst, counter attack, negate the attack, then choose up to 1 black battle card from your drop or warp, add it back to your hand. We're playing a ton of good targets for that. Kami, Poutine, Dark Power, Black Masayan, really solid negate. Also, it has the sparking effect that allows you to pick up a life, so in a sense, it's a pseudo awakener. It's pretty easy to get 5 in the drop in this deck because your leader mills 3, so that number is very easy to hit. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of drop management on your turn, so that when your opponent's turn rolls around, you actually have access to free negates. However, still very good. Kami to clear boards. Also, it's a black 1-drop that draws a card when it's put into play, so very good cycling, and also clearing decks like Shenron Veggies. Continuing on, we're playing 4 super combos. Supreme Kai of Time, World's Protector. This super combo turns on when you have 5 or more cards in warp. So with this lead, very early, potentially turn 1, turn 2, which is a strong time to have your super combo live. Next, we have 2 copies of Time Trauma Black Masayan. When you play this card, if your leader card is black, you may choose up to 2 cards in your life, add them to your hand. If you had to choose 1 or more cards, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards. Energy costs 5 or less, send it to the warp. So this is just bulk awakening if you need it. There's turns when you're actually going to need to awaken, get access to more energy, get access to an additional Overrealm play, get access to another 3 cards in drop, and this allows you to do it. It's also summonable off of Dark Plot and this Temporal Darkness Demigra, and since we're milling our deck most of the game, we should be able to mill it out and then revive it if we need to, when we need to. So very solid additional black card. Next, we have 4 copy of Time Choice Supreme Kai of Time and 4 copy of Time Patrol Trunks. These are your early game free Overrealm cards. Both of them are Overrealm 3 15Ks that allow you to scry the top couple cards of your deck to filter through your strategy to assemble essentially like the chain of things that you need, like this Encroaching Darkness Demigra with this Temporal Darkness Demigra and this Dark Plot. And really, they're all additional early game pressure because they're all 15k 0 energy cards, which is very strong. potentially by turn 3, you're able to go Times Choice Supreme Kai or Time Patrol plus your leader swing up to like 6 times. Each of those swings is going to draw you cards and filter through most of your deck. So by the time you get to your big plays turn 4, turn 5, you should have access to essentially like all the cards in your deck at that point in the time. Continuing on, we have Haru Harley Attacker Majin. Critical when you play this card, choose up to 2 from the top of your deck, put them in the drop. When you play this card, if your opponent's leader card is green or yellow, choose up to 4 energy, switch them to active mode. Very, very, very strong against green and yellow leaders, especially since we're playing a Dark Plot strategy that's also able to play Temporal Darkness Demigra. Playtesting this deck, there were turns when I had 12 plus energy against like yellow green decks, which is just absolutely insane. Unfortunately, if you're playing against a yellow leader like Broly, they do have access to Cold Bloodlust to stop this from being able to untap your energy. And against green, if they have 2 energy up, please don't forget to play around Preemptive Strike. I was testing on our test stream the other day. Stay tuned for that, by the way. And my buddy Josh Preemptive Strike the Temporal Darkness Demigra that would bring my Haru into play. And ultimately turned out pretty poorly for me, honestly. But either way, this card's really good. If you're playing a non-yellow-green matchup, you're able to just charge it because you're playing mono-black anyways. So really, the utility is there for when you play against those matchups, and it's just absolutely insane in them. Continuing on, we have 2 copies of Deadly Defender Son Goku Barrier. When during your opponent's turn, if your leader card is black, this card gains. It's a Deadly Defender. So it allows you to soak up hits. It allows you to fix the number of cards in your drop by potentially comboing them away to turn on your power bursts before your opponent's big leader swings. He's able to be brought back off the Dark Plot and Temporal Darkness Demigra, which is very good. And sometimes you can just tap out for him if you need to, if you feel comfortable doing that. Having access to Deadly Defenders that you can res essentially for free is very powerful. Like we were talking about earlier, 4 copies of this Encroaching Darkness Demigra, one of the key pieces in this deck. After that, we have 3 copies of Dark Plot. It's a 4-cost extra card. Activate main, choose up to 1 battle card in your warp with an energy cost of 4 or less, and play it. If you use this skill to play a battle card with Overrealm, choose up to 3 of your energy, switch them back to active mode. So this in tandem with Temporal Darkness Demigra is actually pretty crazy, because you can potentially Dark Plot, bring back this Encroaching Darkness Demigra if you don't already have it, and then restand 3 of your energy for this Temporal Darkness Demigra. And then if you're playing against a yellow or green deck, you're able to summon this guy, bring out Haru Harley Attacker Majin, completely untap, and at that point you've gone through essentially essentially only gone plus off of all of these cards, remove the card from your opponent's board with Temporal Darkness Demigra's effect. So really just a fantastic card. Can also resurrect this Trunks Power Overseeing Time, turning him into a 1-drop at any point, 1-drop double striking 20k, which is also very powerful. Speaking of which, here he is, Overrealm 4, 2 energy, double strike. When you play this card using Overrealm, choose up to 1 battle card in your warp and add it to your hand. Interesting story, I actually didn't know that you could add any battle card back. So when I was testing this deck, my buddy told me you could bring back this Beyond Darkness Demigra to your hand if you're potentially able to set up for that on the following turn, which is absolutely insane, because this card, we'll get to it in a little bit. It's absolutely insane. Just another thing that I didn't know that you could bring back. I thought it was restricted to 5 or less, but essentially this can search out any card from your basically your deck late in the game and add it back to your hand to finish whatever chain you're trying to do. The last 2 Overrealm cards in this deck are 2 copies of Masain, the Mysterious Warrior. Overrealm 5 for 1 energy, double strike. When you play this card using Overrealm, choose any number of your opponent's battle cards without blocker, for which a total cost adds up to 5 or less, send them to warp. There's a lot of cards like Borgos running around right now. There's a lot of like small cards that this deals with very efficiently and very easily, essentially for 1 energy, which is why I included him in the deck. These can be other Overrealm slots. This deck does find it a little bit hard to reach above 5, so 5 is kind of the upper cap. If you want to play a card like potentially the SS Bardock to clear active battle cards, you can too. However, I didn't feel like the most relevant card that you would want to attack is the FR Goku, and this deck isn't really impacted by that FR Goku too much, so I decided to keep basically the board clearing removal in here. This could also be that Scientist or Dimensional Banisher Fu, which Overrealm, same cost, but removes any card instead. Next, we move on to another linchpin of the deck, 4 copies of Temporal Darkness Demigra, Darker Overrealm 7/4. When you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and send it to the warp, then choose up to a battle card from your warp with an energy cost of 4 or less and play it. So really fantastic card, allows you to ratchet up the tempo. With this new Encroaching Darkness Demigra, you're able to actually play this on turn 3, turn 4 if you don't want to tap out for it, and bring back any of your cards, which is very fantastic because Dark Plot, while it is essentially a 1-drop card, if you bring back a card with Overrealm, this allows you to bring back any card and it's a turn 3 play, which can be very good. Like I said, you can bring back that time trauma to awaken if you need to untap 2 additional energy. Really allows you to do whatever you want. And against those green-yellow decks, like I said, there's some crazy plays where you can bring out Encroaching Darkness Demigras, and then overlay, evolve up into this Temporal Darkness Demigra. Bring back Haru, untap all of your energy, swing with this guys, combo away the Haru, Overrealm for something else maybe, and then activate Dark Plot because you should have 4 energy up at that point, bringing back another copy of either this Encroaching Darkness Demigra because that will untap 3 with Haru's effect to evolve again, or with Dark Plot's effect to evolve again into another copy of Temporal Darkness Demigra, or just to bring back this Haru attacker margin. I've had games in testing where I've untapped 12 energy in a turn, just by looping your cards, which is absolutely insane. But remember, these combos can be cut short by cards like Cold Bloodlust and Preemptive Strike. And then the last card in the deck is 1 copy of Beyond Darkness Demigra. Just a fantastic ultimate card, ultimate finisher for the deck, allows you to completely decimate your opponent's hand, and with Trunks Powers Overseeing Time, you're able to add it back at any point in time during the game, essentially, if you want to set up for it, which is very scary. Honestly, just a solid finish to the end of this deck. Like I said, the deck is pretty cool, allows you a ton of tempo in the interactions that you do. Absolutely can destroy some of the the green and yellow matchups, while still having very solid utility and very solid cards to play against blue-red or black matchups. We're playing cards in here that help us play against like the Shenron strategies, which is very strong. And overall, I think this deck is very well situated and can only get better because they're gonna keep printing good black cards. And so I hope you guys have enjoyed this deck profile. If you guys haven't subscribed already, please consider it. Maybe drop a like and comment down below. Let me know which of those new promos from Colossal Warfare are you guys most interested in. I personally really like the baby, that new 3-drop Goku lineage card that allows you to swap into an 8-drop. And my favorite is this Encroaching Darkness Demigra. It's a shame that we didn't get to see this in action versus Storm. However, honestly, it's fine that Storm got ripped to shreds. I don't think anyone's too sad about that. But I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you want to see other stuff from us and want a little bit more direct communication, consider checking out our Discord in the link down below. And this has been Logan here with Crosswell TCG. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.
Hey, welcome to the end card, and thank you so much for staying through that, because honestly, I'm just doing this until they make a Digimon trading card game. So if you like Dragon Ball Super for some reason, give it a sub up above. Maybe check out some of our other content. And do not forget, Digimon is way better than Pokemon. With that being said, we will see you next time.